Стивена можно прочитать о еще одном применении вот этого вот просмотра фильма. Оказывается, у них есть специальный опросник, который полон сложных вопросов. Например, как звали кота Сухова. И если ты
Большой знаток
смотрел фильм
космической истории.
неправильно, невнимательно, то ты вряд ли ответишь. То есть очень важно, чтобы ты сел и смотрел именно фильм.
Но
Тогда
такой, так
получится.
называемый устный архив, его надо поддерживать, безусловно, и когда-то он становится письменным, приобретает свои очертания в современном контенте и так далее. Продолжает развитие в документальных фильмах, в уже художественных постановках.
Да,
Вот что
кстати,
интересно, да, о чем мы должны
нужно
сказать
сказать,
сегодня.
что вот даже в новую эпоху международного сотрудничества вот эта наша традиция, она обрела второе дыхание. И когда российские космонавты стали летать на Crew11, однажды, как раз-таки после переноса, наш космонавт предложил своим коллегам, сказал, что вот есть традиция посмотреть фильм «Белое солнце пустыни». И американцы, и вот экипаж согласился, они посмотрели и на завтра полетели. И да, действительно, мы видели кадры, с тех пор это становится постепенно и их традицией.
И действительно, вот космонавт Олег Платонов вместе с коллегами по экипажу также посмотрели «Белое солнце пустыни», так что будем надеяться, что уж со второй попытки у нас сегодня космический корабль Crew Dragon 11, экипаж Crew вместе с ракетой Falcon, он отправится в свое путешествие на Международную космическую станцию. Мне кажется, эта история прекрасно иллюстрирует, как в сложных условиях можно с уважением относиться к преемственности покорителей космоса по обе стороны океана. Ведь космос объединяет людей не только технологиями и наукой, но и общими ценностями, традициями, которые помогают нам лучше понять друг друга, несмотря ни на что.
Да, Сереж, а сейчас я предлагаю посмотреть фрагменты прямого эфира с нашим Олегом Платоновым, с астронавтами, которые были показаны буквально за пару часов до того, как мы присоединились к трансляции НАСА. А
Мгм.
сейчас вы их тоже сможете увидеть.
Да, а мы сможем прокомментировать, что происходит на экранах, для того, чтобы...
Было понятней.
Да, вот Зина Кармен, пожалуйста,
Ну,
экипируется в
это
скафандр.
финальная экипировка в скафандр. Она про проверка того, как скафандр сидит. И да, это такой брифинг по оценке рисков.
Мгм. Так, Майкл Финк в кресле. Так я и не разобрался, честно тебе скажу, вот чем кресло отличается от космического ложемента. Наверное, ложемент — это что-то более такая конструкция, да? Вот сейчас они находятся, собственно...
Видишь, кресла не индивидуальны.
Ага.
Они просто кресла. А ложементы в российских союзах, они сделаны по индивидуальной мерке космонавта. У
Мгм.
каждого свое.
Олег Платонов на наших экранах. Вот видите, какая серьезная тоже. Конечно же, проверка всех сочленений
Можно тут
конструкции.
увидеть хорошо, что, к сожалению, у американского скафандра компании SpaceX
Are, of course, still keeping our ears out for any updates about the weather, but everything else is looking good to go so far.
Yep. And the call out we heard there, of course, fuel load complete on the second stage. Falcon 9 has 2 stages. Each stage has 2 tanks, one for the liquid oxygen and another for the fuel kerosene. So that meant we already have one of the 4 tanks fully loaded right now. The fuel load on the second stage, that is the kerosene load on that upper stage, is complete. So 1 out of 4.
And very quickly, Anonymous has been in the store. Thank you very much for your support, getting some items from the brand new summer, or so brand new, the summer collection, which has been out for a couple months at this point. But you know, it's still summer. You can get your summer collection whilst it's still summer. And XD9, thank you very much for gifting 10 Red Team memberships. 10 more people now have access to the NSF behind the scenes member area. So thank you so much for your support. And of course, to everybody who just received one of those free Red Team memberships, make sure to thank XD9 in chat as well. And Alex, whilst we are on the subject of Crew Dragon, Crew11, going to the International Space Station, as we know, this Crew Dragon is about to become, or already is, but is about to extend its lead rather, as the most flown Crew Dragon in terms of number of flights. But is it the Crew Dragon with that's flown the highest number of crew to space?
Yeah, so Yeah, so Endeavour has flown already, or it's about to fly its 22nd human, I guess, because it's flown Demo 2. There was 2 people on board. It flew Crew 2, Axiom 1, Crew 6, and Crew 8. Each one of those carried 4 people. So we're talking 4 times 4, that's 16, plus 2, that's 18. So it's already carried 18 people on board to orbit, and also 18 down, of course. And so with Crew 11, that's going to be another 4. So it's going to go up to 22. I said, of course, on the, going up with 4, going down with 4, but we have the exception with Freedom on its latest flight in Crew 9, where it launched with 2 and it returned 4. So it's not that. There we go. It's not as obvious, right? But that is essentially, yeah.
Dragon SpaceX
That's what's
for
happening.
status update. Dragon
Ooh.
and Falcon 9 are healthy, and we continue to load propellant. Weather is still our watch item. We are seeing some development in the area, so this is going to come down to a matter of time. We're going to keep an eye on it and continue marching towards T0, and we'll see if we manage to thread the clouds today.
Okay, Dragon copies. We've got a healthy rocket, healthy Dragon. Weather is continuing to develop. We'll keep going until we can.
Let's hope the weather cooperates.
100%. I agree with that statement because it would be nice to get these guys off the ground. Let's put it that way. already the second attempt. Hopefully the second time is the charm. And speaking about the weather, I suppose we were discussing earlier, not only do they have to consider the weather around the launch pad, they have to consider the weather up the eastern seaboard, they have to consider the weather pretty much all the way to Shannon Island, because that is the furthest abort zone that they have for launch. And Alex, do we know who is actually responsible for picking the crew up if there was an abort to Shannon? Is it like the Irish Coast Guard, or does SpaceX have assets that they've deployed to the other side of the Atlantic Ocean?
Yeah, in that case, in any case where the crew aborts during ascent, or even if they have to do an emergency return from orbit, unless it is close to the recovery site off the coast of California, it will be the Air Force, Detachment 3, that will be in charge of getting to the crew. They have their own sort of requirement to get there to the crew within 24 hours. And they have all the capabilities to do so. And also on the SpaceX side, Dragon also needs to be able to maintain the crew on board pretty much for those 24 hours of the requirement. So that will be the case. I would not be surprised though if, because it's off the coast of Ireland. Ireland is also like an ally country and whatnot. Like I wouldn't be surprised if part of that also involved, for example, Ireland offering, after the recovery, for example, you can stay here, recover, or hospital facilities if you need be, like things like that. I will not be surprised. Although I don't know if there's any sort of treaty agreement or something already done ahead of that. Hopefully we don't have to figure it out, right? It's one of those things that are in place and nobody wants to use at any point, because that will not be great. But when it does happen, I'm going, sort of thinking about Nick Hague, for example. He was the commander of Crew 9, but he was also part of the crew of Soyuz MS-10, and that Soyuz mission had to abort during flight. And of course, that's when all of these emergency procedures come into place. They kick in, they go to the crew, they rescue them from wherever they have aborted and things like that. But yeah, they have all of these procedures also trained as well.
Yeah. But again, fingers crossed, everything goes smoothly today, as we hope, as we just have passed T-minus 13 minutes and counting. You can see everyone in mission control in Houston, managing more of the International Space Station side of things. We, of course, also have mission control in Hawthorne, California, which is going to be managing the SpaceX side of things. And we have the Launch and Landing Control Center as well at the Cape itself from SpaceX, where they'll be managing some things there as well. And I'm sure as well there'll be teams in Japan because we have a Japanese astronaut on board, and Russia as well, as we have a Roscosmos cosmonaut on board today. So Alex, whilst we have a couple minutes here before the next major event, why don't we take a look at some of the stats to do with this mission?
Yeah, let's go quickly through some of the stats here, because in about 2 minutes we'll have another status update. So this is SpaceX's 536 launch overall. That includes Falcon 9, Falcon Heavy, Falcon 1, Starship. Anything that was a full stack rocket is there. The 97th launch of the year, including the 3 Starship launches and the 94 Falcon 9 launches that will be with this one. This is not the 13th launch of the month now. That should be changed to the first launch of the month. I'm sure some of these stats were not updated by Kevin. But yeah, this will be the first launch of the month. This is the 159th launch since the last launch failure back in July of last year. It was a long time ago. Falcon 9's 511th orbital flight, the 115th launch by SpaceX from LC-39A. And unfortunately, if successful, this will be the 53rd and final landing on LC-1, as we were talking earlier. It's going to be the last landing attempt at landing zone 1. Will be the 54th attempt, but one of those failed. So if successful, it will be the 53rd successful landing attempt on LC-1. 143rd launch, 143rd successful landing by a Falcon booster since the last failure that was back in August of last year. And the things that have not changed since yesterday, obviously 54th orbital flight of a Dragon spacecraft and the 19th human spaceflight by SpaceX. And I just did all that in time for the T-minus 10-minute call-out, which we should be hearing in just a few seconds from now, including
Really
the
quickly,
commander's speech.
I need to chime in here before that. There's just a Phase 1 lightning watch that was issued for the area. That is not a warning, so that does not
Ooh.
preclude a launch at this point. Just noting it.
Launch.
SpaceX Dragon displays are configured for launch. To our family, friends, all who support us at SpaceX, NASA, JAXA, Roscosmos, thank you. Spasibo, arigato gozaimasu. For this freedom to explore, resilience to endure, may grace fly alongside this endeavor.
Crew 11, from all of us on the ground, we've enjoyed working with you in preparation for your mission. We look forward to continuing to do so in flight. Good luck. Enjoy the ride.
There we go. Some wonderful words as always from Commander Zena Cardman in the third from the left seat there in the left-hand picture. So yeah, as Sawyer just very briefly mentioned, that is a Phase 1 Lightning Watch. That is not a warning. That does not mean any action has to immediately take place. However, it means that the center just keeping an eye out. There's some lightning that could be on the way, so better to be safe than sorry. So they're keeping an eye out, but nothing to act on just yet, as the crew are happy and healthy on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, the vehicle's happy and healthy as well, and it's looking pretty frosty now, nearly fully frosty, as we get ready for launch. Fingers crossed in 8.5 minutes time, that propellant load. Fingers crossed wrapping up just a couple minutes before launch. And we continue to count towards the engine chill, which will start taking place on the first stage at T-minus 7 minutes in about 1 minute time. Looks like Oleg's doing some arm exercises in the meantime to keep himself occupied as the mission keeps counting forward. See some of that condensation now rising up to the top of the strong back as well.
8 minutes to go.
And from Wade,
Ooh.
Dr. WD40 on Twitch, watching over the water here. There's a lot of clouds in the area, but fingers crossed there is a needle that can be threaded between them in terms of the launch of CREW11.
Yeah, the worst of the clouds that I'm seeing right now are towards the southwest of where we are right now. So I think that's okay. Again, this is going northeasterly. The landing will be back at LZ1. So I think they'll be able to thread it, but it is definitely going to be close.
Yeah, you can see it's almost like a vertical line on that previous shot, splitting up the two cameras. Cloudy on the left, sunny on the right. This from Port Canaveral, one of our fleet cams. And yeah, you can see a booster which has previously flown there, has just come back into port a little while ago, and you can see the clouds behind it. But there you go. Alex, I'm just wondering, have you spotted anything new at Complex 39A with these shots, or is there nothing to see?
Nothing different from yesterday. I mean, they might have done
I
a
don't know
few
if they
more
put a new pipe
things.
in or something.
Yeah. We can see part of the deluge system for Starship and whatnot, but yeah, nothing huge since yesterday at least. But yeah, we heard that call out of engine chill. It's very similar to the T-minus 20-minute vent, but instead of being with the ground systems, it's with the Merlin engines themselves, with those pumps on the Merlin engines. We should also hear soon the call out. Well, it just got ahead of me. That call out was the end of kerosene load on the first stage. So we have now 2 out of the 4 main tanks on Falcon 9 fully loaded. Those 2 kerosene tanks on the second stage and the first stage. Next up should be the Stromback retract. Although before that, there's also going to be the call out about Dragon going into terminal count, being configured for terminal count and whatnot. That's when it transitions into internal power. It takes a few minutes until it actually is fully on internal power. But yeah, that should be the next call out around T-minus 5 minutes, T-minus 4.5 minutes. That'll be Stromback retract. The top clamp on that white structure will open. The Stromback will retract about 1.8 degrees away from the rocket. And also at the T-minus 5 minutes, we'll also hear the tanks pressing for Stromback retract. Trying to get ahead here a bit of those callouts now before they happen.
And of course, whilst the rocket's getting ready, the field team is getting ready as well. Once again, D setting up too many cameras to count with the networking dish up there as well. Hawaiian shirt is now on the human, not on the camera, but there we go. And we are beyond 5 minutes to go now, so Dragon should be transitioning to internal power.
Retract. Dragon is in, configure for terminal count.
There we go.
That was the call.
Speaking of the field, I'm going to make sure my cameras are all ready to go here. 4.5 minutes to go. More people continuing towards the lawn. The clouds.
Stromback retract
We
has
might
started.
just do this. I'll talk to you after.
Wonderful as always, Sawyer. Fingers crossed we hear from you in about 10 minutes' time with a booster on the way back. And as we just heard on the countdown net there, the Stromback is starting to retract. And that'll retract by only a couple of degrees for now, but that will swing all the way back to about 45 degrees at liftoff. That, of course, that big white structure which has been holding up Falcon 9 and supplying it with all of the different propellants and commodities whilst it has been vertical at the pad over the last few days. We can see that claw currently opening on the second stage there. And we'll see that start to pull back momentarily. We can see in the bottom there the vehicle in the background and the media setting up in the foreground at the Kennedy Space Center press site.
Yep, should be coming up on stage 1, liquid oxygen load wrapping up. That will be the third of the 4 main tanks on Falcon 9. Also, Dragon going into internal power as well.
As we approach T-minus 3 minutes. Count continuing as always. I don't like to bring it up, but I feel like I must remember yesterday there was a stand down at T-minus 1 minute for weather. Yeah. So we are about 2 minutes away from that particular threshold.
Stage 1, lock load complete.
There it is.
So we take one look at Crew Dragon Endeavour. Once again, about to extend its lead as the fleet leader. It's flown 5 times before.
Internal power.
And it's now on internal power, preparing for its 6th flight into space. with 4 astronauts on board. There we go. And we can also see in the bottom right there that strongback has retracted by a couple of degrees, but there are still umbilicals that are connected, stacked umbilicals, which will keep feeding commodities, data, electricity, etc. to the vehicle. Those will, of course, detach at liftoff.
Yeah. Up next should be second stage liquid oxygen load ending. And then we'll have a fully loaded rocket ready to lift off. And hopefully no holds this time around.
Stage
Just
2 launch
go.
load complete.
There it is.
Under T-minus 2 minutes.
And if we actually go... Oh, go
Dragon
ahead.
is in auto idle.
At 40 seconds away from the flight computer starting those pre-launch checks and the propellant tank pressurization starting for flight. We can see that final vent there from the strongback.
Closeouts, expect loud venting.
Don't say they didn't warn you.
Yeah, auto idle is the guidance computer preparing for liftoff.
10 seconds to 1 minute.
Muy buenos días, familia. Hoy es viernes.
Let's listen in. See
1
what they
de
say.
agosto. A los días como son y no como dicen en la mierda televisión.
We're through T-minus 1 minute and we are
Poca
counting
broma,
down.
Poca broma.
The flight termination system is armed.
Dragon, SpaceX, go for launch.
Yes!
Yes!
And
Yes!
Go for launch. The weather is cooperating.
Yes!
Dragon is go for launch.
Yes!
Everybody is for launch as well as we approach T-minus 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Espera, que no tengo que verlo en el stream porque no tengo...
The wind has
And-
died down at the press site.
No lo veo igual.
Now, reminder, as they go up, they're going to be calling out the different abort modes. So you'll hear 1 Alpha, 1 Bravo, and then we'll talk about the rest as we go
15
through.
seconds.
Pum, pum, oh, ¿cómo se ha
Here we go.
escuchado eso?
T-minus 10.
Yo aún me tengo que hacer
9,
cosas, pero...
8, 8,
Ahora voy a verlo.
7, 5,
4, 3, 2, 1...
ignition.
¡Despego!
Full power and lift.
Launcher!
Go Falcon, go NASA, go CREW11.
Let's go, let's go! Ahí va, mira, 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 mira. Wow!
Copy.
Vehicle
Yeah!
downrange.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
Oh my god. ¡Potencia!
Stage 1 throttle down.
Power and telemetry are nominal.
Ahí va con potencia,
Max Q.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
Supersonic. Supersonic.
70 seconds into flight, that was quite a
Stage 1
vague
throttle.
tone you could hear. Xena Cardman calling 1 Alpha as they left the pad.
Los cosmos.
And calling stage 1 Bravo
Los
for that
cosmos
second
y el
abort
otro tienen
zone.
la misma visión, No puedes...
Stage 1 will
Nice.
continue burning for approximately 1 more minute until main engine cutoff.
Guay.
You can see the plume starting to expand because, of course, as Falcon 9 gets higher and higher in the atmosphere gets thinner and thinner. There's less pressure pushing in that exhaust, therefore it can expand as altitude rises through 27 kilometers now.
Me has jodido el
Almost looks like
directo
the
de
vehicle
ayer.
isn't moving because of the cloud layer as well being pushed by the wind, but I can assure you it certainly is over 3,000 kilometers an hour in speed now, Falcon 9, as its main engine cut off in about 20 seconds time. That plume very much expanding now.
Impact chill
Mira,
started.
espera. Bueno,
And it'll be rather quick because so we'll have main engine cut off. The engines will shut down.
Stage
The
one
stages
throttle
will
down.
separate.
Vamos, que cuando acabe
Just
yo
a
pongo
throwdown for
música
staging,
y hacer
and
cosas.
then second stage will ignite. The first stage will flip back and start its
Main
boost
engine cut
back
off.
burn.
Main engine cut off.
There it is.
2 Alpha.
Me desperté a las
Stage
5.
separation confirmed.
Güey.
And back ignition.
Me desperté a las 5.
And there goes
There's a flip.
B1094.
Ole. Nice. Very nice.
Beautiful views from
Bye
space
bye.
of the Space Coast.
Parece un bolígrafo.
There's
tú.
the ignition from that booster. You can see it flipping around. It's now heading back to landing zone 1 for the very
Gigante.
final time as the second stage now powering its way into low Earth orbit. Xena Cardman calling out stage 2 Alpha at stage separation.
In about 50 seconds or so, a little bit under that,
Lleva 3 minutos y ya
we're
está
gonna have
en
the
el
first
espacio,
of the
¿sabes?
many callouts during this
Joder.
ascent portion of nominal trajectory from the launch director to the crew. That is part of the standard procedure where they call out every minute as they go into the ascent portion here with the second stage, nominal trajectory to the crew. So that first call out should be in a few seconds from now, and then every minute there will be one of those.
Así desprende ya, ¿no? Va bastante tarde en los
Standing by for that
cosmos.
call.
Parece, ¿no?
Dragon, SpaceX, nominal trajectory.
There it is.
Dragon copies.
Sí. Va bastante tarde en los cosmos. Lleva un minuto.
And the views, of course, are absolutely spectacular. A late morning launch for CREW11. CREW4 definitely off and away to the International Space Station at this point, whilst we ride back on board with booster B1094. It has concluded its boost back burn and is now repositioning itself for the entry burn, whilst it fights fire with fire, as it doesn't want to, of course, burn up on its way back through the atmosphere. Unlike Super Heavy, which doesn't do an entry burn and just, you know, Super Heavy is so strong it can just brute force its way through that thermal regime. Falcon 9 needs a little bit of help from its Merlin engines. It'll ignite 1 engine, then 3, then down select back to 1 before concluding that entry burn. As we are now approaching 5 minutes, it does look like the first stage has reached apogee, its highest point of today's flight. It's now falling from 127 through 6 through 124 kilometers an hour in altitude, speed picking back up.
There we go. Although Ryan, I'm really curious what kind of entry and landing burn profile they do.
Mi pregunta es, ¿estarán
Because
igual
sometimes
a la
they do a
ISS? Sí,
single
¿no? 2
engine entry
días.
burn,
O un
and
día.
then the landing burn is a 1-3-1. So
Bueno, aquí
they
lo podemos
do
ver, en verdad.
1 engine first, then they slam on the brakes by igniting another 2 engines,
¿Cómo?
and then the final they shut down those engines and do the
Directo
final
preparado.
like the end
Pues
portion
no,
of the
no
landing
hay.
burn with just 1 single
Yeah.
engine. And that it's
Shit.
probably counterintuitive because they use 3 engines instead of 1, but because they slam on the brakes harder, it uses less propellant, and so it's more efficient. It does put more forces on the booster though. It's not something that they do every single time, but it's gonna be interesting if they do it here.
Los cosmos debería, pero no creo que lo tengan.
Some ice falling away from the booster there.
Trajectory.
No. Porque ellos emiten y punto, ¿sabes?
Dragon copies.
Giant copy!
Mission Control reassuring Xena Cardman there, commander of CREW11, that everything is still looking good from the second stage's point of view. But from the first stage's point of view, you can see those clouds over Florida there as we
Aldo,
descend
haz
back down
tema, Aldo.
towards the Space Coast, about 10 seconds until entry burn starts.
Aquí debería,
The
¿no?
RTS doing their thing. The grid fins have just kicked in.
El tracker, ¿no? No, esto no es.
Here we go, 1
Nice.
engine.
Santa Track. Hostia, ya está el Santa Track, loco. Nice.
And it looks like it's just gonna be 1 engine. Okay.
Yep, looks like they're going for that kind of reverse profile there. 1 engine entry burn.
Countdown.
And
Basic.
that landing
That was
burn,
SpaceX.
if it's gonna be, because it kind of looks like it's gonna be 1-3-1, then it's gonna be quite a
Mira,
spicy.
Blue Origin. El
Because
día 15.
those landing burns are usually done a little bit lower.
Darling.
Dragon, SpaceX, nominal
Ya
trajectory.
yes.
And here we go,
Ya
descending
from
towards
Cape
the
Canaveral,
ground.
Starling. Día
Through the
4.
clouds, through 15 kilometers in altitude now for B1094. That first
Aquí
stage
está
booster
docking. El
descending
día
towards landing
3 del
zone
8 del
1 for the
2025 a
very
las 6 y
final
media de la
time.
madrugada. El docking. Ok, y ese es el docking.
7 minutes into flight, we're going through the clouds now, Look at those grid
Docking,
fins causing
docking.
the vapor
Donkey
to go
Kong.
through them in that grid pattern. Spectacular shots as we
Donkey
ride through the
Kong.
atmosphere and descend towards the ground. And there's the ignition. We saw very momentarily.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
Mira cómo baja, mira, 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 mira,
And
mira,
Beta 94 descends to LZ1
mira.
for a textbook landing. A journey that started with Orbcom Mission 2, featured Falcon Heavy demo, and 50 other landings since. That
Nice.
is the last on LZ1.
8 minutes.
Beta 94 is back on the ground.
Está con el café. Hay gente que está con el café después de comer y hay
That
gente
is
que
an
está con
empty
el
launch
café de
complex
desayunar.
39A. That
¿Sí o
is
no?
Beta 94 at landing zone 1. And we ride back on board with the second stage as we approach second engine cut-off in about 40 seconds.
Siempre fuertes ahí, ahí. Muy
Yep.
desocupados.
Last landing. Here we go. Getting ready to insert into orbit. But yeah, last landing on landing zone 1.
Shannon.
Copy, Shannon.
That's the call out
Final
for.
abort zone.
Yep, the final abort zone off the coast of Ireland should be very close to Seco. Second engine cutoff.
Seco.
And there we go. Dragon and the second
Después de
stage
hacer toda
are
la
in
puta
space.
cosa, me pondré.
27,000 kilometers an hour in speed,
Dragon,
198 kilometers in altitude.
No, si no lo hice ayer.
Dragon copies.
And we can see through the. We can see through the trunk there, up at the Dragon. Separation should be taking place momentarily. Please stand by for that separation in about 5 seconds' time.
Vamos. 10
This
minutes.
camera
And
is
there she goes.
from the. There we go. From the second stage, looking up the trunk and.
Aquí sí que
flies
sale
away.
el Dragon. Dragon
Let's stand
Serp.
by just in case
No
we
sé
get
si
any
así. Es el
speeches
Dragon.
from anybody on the ground or in space.
Se pira sola ya. Nice. Ella sola. Nice. ¡Hala! ¡A volar!
Confirmed.
Sí. Bueno.
Dragon, Chief Engineer on Dragon to ground. Zena, Mike, Kimia, Oleg, welcome to orbit. On behalf of the entire Falcon team, we thank you for flying with Falcon today and wish you a great mission. Dragon will take you from here. Over to Launch Director for a few words.
Ya sonaba lo
On behalf of the
de
launch team, it's been an absolute honor working with you towards launch
la
today.
radio rusa,
We wish you
loco.
well on the rest of your mission, and we will be awaiting your safe return. Godspeed Endeavour, Godspeed CREW11, and thanks for flying SpaceX.
Vete a saber, ¿no? De la radio rusa, si fue algo así de estos de los despegues. Y se quedó ahí. Y... Siendo que va despacio.
Dragon, I have no emotions
です。
but joy right
も
now.
う軌
That
道
was
投入も
absolutely
されたということで、
transcendent.
あとは
Ride of a
今
lifetime.
日
あとは
今回です。
Thank you. This has been an
あとは
incredible honor.
とは
And it's my privilege now to pass you on to Mike for some additional words.
Boy, it's great to be back in orbit again. Thank you to SpaceX and NASA to get us here. What a ride. And Zena and Oleg, let me be the second to welcome you to your first orbit around beautiful planet Earth. Kimia-san, Okayeri Nasai, welcome back. And to the ISS Expedition 73 team, the crew on board and our friends in MCC, we're on our way. Over to you, Kimia-san.
Okay, thank you very much for everything. спасибо вам большое. ありがとうございます。日本の皆さん、私も、10年ぶりに宇宙に帰ってきました。ISS でしっかりと任務を果たして、一等星のように輝いて、日本の素晴らしいところを世界中の人に知っていただきたいと思います。ありがとうございます。Я передаю Олег-сан, пожалуйста.
Спасибо, Kimia-san.
Спасибо.
Thank you very much. Arigato gozaimasu. And спасибо всем. I'd like for the beginning to say thank you very much, Roscosmos, SpaceX, and NASA for this unique opportunity to be here with my great crew. Дорогие друзья, находясь на космическом корабле и облетая нашу родную планету, я испытываю неописуемое счастье и восторг. Хочу выразить слова благодарности всей нашей стране, Соединенным Штатам Америки и России за эту уникальную возможность, а также Роскосмосу. Хочу выразить слова благодарности своей школе, в которой я учился, номер 103 в городе Челябинске. Выразить благодарность Краснодарскому высшему военному авиационному училищу летчиков и 22-му гвардейскому истребительному авиационному полку, а также сотрудникам Центра подготовки космонавтов, кто искренне верил и болел за эту идею отправить меня в космос. Обещаю выполнить все поставленные передо мной задачи на отлично. Ура!
¡Hurra!
CREW11, we copy all of your words. We are very excited for you to have reached orbit. And we will now proceed with getting you to the International Space Station. You have approximately 3 minutes left in this ground station pass if you'd like to introduce your 0G indicator.
Copy all, Tremaine. Thank you so much. We'll get out our 5th crew member here in just a moment. This 0G indicator honors a shared memory with our lead trainer, Paul Weiss. Mentors and team members who got us here through sacrifice of time and dedication. I hope we made you proud today. Thank you so much.
And there we go, CREW11 in orbit. Commander Zena Carbon saying that was the ride of a lifetime. Pilot Mike Fink saying it's great to be back. Of course, hearing words from mission specialists Kamiya Yui and Oleg Platonov as well, as we stand by to see if the crew share that 0G indicator they have on board Dragon. But right now we ride on board with the second stage as it continues to orbit Earth, just passing over Europe now.
Dragon SpaceX, to summarize where we are with vehicle activation, we've had nominal dehumidifier activation and service section Draco checkouts. Currently opening the nose cone.
There we go, we can see on the left-hand side.
And we'll be ready for visors open with ECOS activation complete.
See that track from Dragon on the left-hand side over the Atlantic heading towards Europe now, and on the right-hand side, live view from our friends over at CERN from the International Space Station, which is just heading towards Greece and Turkey. So the SpaceX Dragon has a little bit of catching up to do over the next 48 hours or so, but there you go. Views on Earth from 2 different spacecraft. That is something that is pretty neat indeed. So a big thanks to our friends at CERN for providing that feed on the right-hand side as Dragon starts to catch up to the International Space Station. And fingers crossed we get some capsule views as well momentarily. But for the time being, Sawyer Rosenstein, welcome back. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't sound like you got your money's worth.
Yeah, it's safe to say LZ1 went out with a whimper and literally not a bang at this point, because there was no sonic absolutely spectacular. I mean...
Pero como cuando se... Nice. Dale.
I don't know if we've lost Sawyer there momentarily on a bit of a dodgy connection there, but yeah, unfortunately the weather conditions.
Not sure what the last part was that you heard.
Just say it again. Just to be safe.
Yeah, it went out with a literally with a whimper and not a bang. Didn't really hear the boom of the sonic booms there, but the sound itself during liftoff was spectacular. The clouds kind of helped with that here, also made for a great backdrop for it. And I mean, most importantly, the crew is in space. That is what we care about here. So yeah, while the view may not have been the best, the sound, the crew was safe, which makes it automatically tied for one of the best missions.
100% have to agree with that one always, as again this launch time is pretty awesome because we get some awesome daylight views from space, as for both the International Space Station and Falcon 9 as it continues to orbit the Earth. That of course, that 11:43 local time liftoff time, 15:43 UTC there.
I should also point out that Max made a great point. He was talking about the fact of why we might not have heard anything here because of the rain in the area. When you think about it, the rain birds and the sound suppression water system did their job, except this was actual rain and actual water from the clouds stopping it. So that's right there how it works.
Yeah, the atmosphere definitely doing more sound suppression this time around, unfortunately, but nonetheless, that was one heck of a way to send LZ1 out there with, of course, that the return propulsive landing to the landing zone. It never gets old, even if it becomes routine. It never gets old.
You're right.
So,
It was
a big thank you and a big farewell to Landing Zone 1 because it's seen many, many historic milestones. Not only the first propulsive landing of an orbital class rocket booster, it's seen Falcon Heavy demo and of course all the Falcon Heavy missions since that as well, which have featured reusability, and of course it's seen many boosters return since 54 landings, if I'm not mistaken, Alex, now.
54 attempts, 53 successful.
Close enough. 54 attempts now. And we are now approaching, or just past 18 minutes into flight, continuing to stand by to see if we get any views from inside of the Dragon capsule. But both vehicles now very much orbiting the Earth and in space safely. Over the next few hours, they'll be phasing their way towards the International Space Station. I'm just looking through the timeline here. If I'm not mistaken, it looks to be about 13 hours before the next burn. So they'll be coasting for a little while, but I'm sure in that time the crew will very much enjoy getting out of their spacesuits and stretching out a little bit inside Dragon, enjoying zero gravity for all of its pros and cons, and of course getting a little bit of a sleep, a little bit of a nap.
We see a nominal nose cone opening in TCS and forward bulkhead to Draco checkouts.
This is all good news.
And then looking forward in the timeline, you have your first burn up on your forward view. That's the phase burn in approximately 25 minutes. We will also be monitoring the stage 2 deorbit to give you the go for suit doffing, and we're expecting that at T plus 45 minutes.
No me hacen publicidad, pero os voy a decir que os compréis las galletas. Compréis ya las galletas, no me hacen publicidad, pero me la pela. Biscuits Galicia, están todo buenas, tú. Son las que me como yo para tomar el café.
Oh yeah, we
no me
don't have access to the full
pero
detailed timeline, unfortunately. But that, of course, SpaceX will have access to.
Quiero que vosotros también os hagáis adictos a esas galletas.
And it looks like the second stage has started a little bit of a spin there.
Wow, I think on the forward facing view you could see the Dragon in the distance.
Yeah, it's quite tricky to see from our point of view because we don't have the highest quality of previews, but we can see there the second stage now passing, literally about to pass over my house.
You should go out and wave at them.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you'll see me on the camera view because of the clouds, but definitely the clouds and not the fact that I'm quite small. But I think you can actually, I'm trying to work out the geography here. The second stage is definitely pointing down. SpaceX, go back to the front camera. Go back to the front camera. I'm trying to do geography.
No, fuera coña, sí, estoy por decirles, oye, si os doy publicidad en mi canal, ¿qué tal? ¿Un 5% de descuento? Cabrones. Aunque en verdad son baratas.
Come on, SpaceX.
Muy baratas las galletas.
Next camera.
Hay baratas, entre comillas. Baratas, bueno.
Okay, never mind.
Lo que según que te pille.
They're probably listening to me.
Pero están bien de precio, no están mal. Y a partir de muy poco te las traen gratis a casa.
Yeah. Bit over 20 minutes after launch, and they're already over Europe. Point to
A
point,
cualquier parte
right?
de España, ¿eh?
Point to point. It's the future. It's the future. Whether it will actually happen though. We made a video about it.
Está Europa también, no sé.
In the meantime, during the
Dragon
launch,
SpaceX, just for awareness,
Latam
we're
igual
gonna drop
saldrá
out
más,
of the video
igual saldría
for
caro, ¿no? No
introducing
sé,
your
no tengo
CRG
idea.
indicator, but we do have video back for the last part of this Goon Hilly Pass.
A las islas
so
va.
if you'd like to reintroduce it, we can see you now.
Artesanal.
let's see if we can get that video feed for the 0G indicator.
These copies are still deployed. Paul.
Oh, el Japón también se ha cerrado.
And we see it floating around. Looks like it's having a great time.
Fortunately, it doesn't look like we have that video, but they do have it in mission control. So I'm sure you can check out all of the socials for that later. So yeah, unfortunately, NASA is not providing us with any astronaut feeds. So if we had it, we would bring it to you. I promise we're not hiding anything, but it does sound like they have it in mission control. So we don't have the video to show you, unfortunately. This isn't our doing, but we are bringing you what we do have, which are, of course, these spectacular views of...
Una putada que China no quiere saber nada de YouTube ni nada de esta gente, pero bueno. Mira, los cosmos, tío, los cosmos le da igual, los cosmos está, tío. Pero a China no. China no quiere.
And seeing the astronauts in zero G and all that.
Me parece absurdo,
100%.
pero bueno.
And during the launch, of course, we don't want to do super chats and such during the launch, but a big thank you to the support from Stephen as well, and we have Anonymous purchasing that shirt, which is from the secret shop, which is now closed, unfortunately, and Helga, sorry if I pronounced your name incorrectly, but thank you very much for the €24 support there. This community rocks. Thank you all. Thank you very much for the support there. It's greatly appreciated, and it is the reason we can keep doing what we all love doing.
No, es que yo no lo tomo como un segundo intento. Yo lo veo como una cagada monumental de decir, oye, lo aplastamos hasta mañana porque hay mal tiempo, ya está.
You know, like, it literally looks like SpaceX threaded the needle literally with that launch there.
Yeah, the flags earlier were pretty quiet.
Right
now they are flapping quite hard. So at this.
Siendo la puta NASA, colega, no me toques los cojones. Siendo la NASA, se equivoca en el tiempo, va en serio. Siendo la NASA. Yo sé que el cambio, el tiempo después de cambiar de un momento a otro, bien. Pero me parece muy raro que no supieran lo del tiempo.
4 minutes ago,
muy raro.
There a wonderful wide shot there from, I believe that's from the VAB
Sigo
brief,
pensando que me parece muy
towards
raro.
the pad, from the launch pad itself.
Mira cómo se puso a llover. Eso no es de cagados, ¿no?
You can see that water
aquí.
system doing its job.
Las nubes
It's
antes
always
de venir.
wonderful for these crew missions because SpaceX and NASA provide us with these super cool up-close views, which we don't normally get. Unfortunately, they don't like providing these for things other than crew launches, but it's awesome when we do get them because they're pretty spectacular views. You can see there the strong back falling all the way back to 45 degrees at the point of liftoff.
Aunque ojo, está volviendo,
all of its
parece que
umbilicals and
vuelve.
connections and plumbing and things like that, keeping that all safe.
Más rara.
See here from the press site, the rocket rising behind the ticking clock.
Here, just a few cameras clicking.
Yeah, just a few.
Siempre pillando las camus. Falta arriba. Yo no sé cuál poner. Esto hay que verlo, Inside Area 51. Repetición. Uf.
Had some audio there, even if it was just for a moment. It looks like we've got the helicopter cam as well.
Hostia, hasta
NASA rolling out all
VTubers,
the assets for a
colega.
crew launch as always. You can really see how the steam
La copia.
just covers
De la
complex
copia.
39A
De
there
la
at
copia.
launch.
No.
Even though
Porque
this
Japón,
Falcon 9's a big rocket, but it's certainly not as big as Starship.
The ground is pulled to go for the upcoming phase burn.
And there we go, the first phase burn of the mission as
Está en
CREW11 makes its
directo.
way towards the International Space Station. The ground is happy to go forward with that burn, and you could hear the commander there copying that information down.
Les dejo mi like. Menos mal, un día que sí que salen de su puta casa, colega.
You can see the replay
Estos
there.
dominicanos,
Through the
están en su puta casa y no salían del...
In a few of the boxes we have here, you can actually see some of the safing operations, Alex, which SpaceX undergoes
sus
at
vídeos,
the
tío,
launch
pero ya
pad,
no.
and also at the landing zone.
Ya no. Ya no me gusta.
Well, just give it a minute, because I think we might have some audio coming.
Antes denunciaba cosas, hablaba claramente de las ciudades, ahora ya... ¡Wow! ¡Wow! Vaya vista, loco. Qué cabrones. No podemos esta. Ay, sí, la misma que esta, ¿no?
There we go.
Estamos en la mierda.
Hopefully someone goes and cleans up that camera before the next launch. Anyways, yeah. Alex, we can see the Launch Complex 39A live views in the top right and the bottom left. What are some of the safing operations they undertake to make sure the launch pad is safe after a launch?
Yeah, they vent down all of the different lines, they save those, and one of the other things that they do as well, at ignition on the ground, they flush T-tap, their igniter fluid, into all of the 9 Merlin engines, right? And because those lines are filled now with T-tap, and it's a very corrosive hazardous material, and so those, for example, get burned off. It gets vented and burned off before any people approach the launch pad. But yeah.
And let's get another close-up view here. Ignition and liftoff. 29 minutes ago.
Bueno, yo ahora vendré. Welcome. Voy a cerrar ya. Esto ya está. Estaría. Un poco más, señores. Déjense su like, suscríbanse, todo.